What is going on, guys? My name is Elo Jama, and welcome back to another video. I want to start out this video by saying thank you guys so much for the recent support on the last video. It blew my mind to see that video hit over 200 views in such a short time, and especially just like within 3 days after it being up, we already had 100 views, and it just blew my mind to see it blow up that fast. Again, thank you guys so very much for that. I really appreciate it, and welcome to the new subscribers we gained from that video as well. Welcome to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy your stay. But today I am bringing you another deck profile. I know I said either the last week or this week would be the super strong deck, probably the best deck I've ever seen replay, but I've decided to hold off for that until I get a few more replays for it to show you guys, because I'm usually on Dueling Book for a little while, every couple of days, playing for a little bit, and I'm just going to gather some replays of that deck to show you guys. So I'm going to hold off on showing that deck off just for a little bit longer. So instead, I'm going to bring this video to you guys this week. And I hope you guys enjoyed the 2020 Megaton, even though it was a little bit of a bust. It was still really fun to do, and I got some cool cards out of it. Anyways, we're going to get on with the video. So today, guys, we have a deck profile. I know I'm doing a lot of these, but just hang in there, guys. I promise we'll have a lot of new stuff coming soon, especially once I get these replays up. If you guys have any decks you'd like to recommend for me to do replays on, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll do my best. But as you guys have probably seen from the title, today's deck profile is on Exodia. Exodia, for those who don't know, has the win condition of when you have all 5 pieces of Exodia in your hand, you automatically win the duel. The only thing it has to have, nothing can stop this. As far as I know, there is no card in the game that can stop Exodia. The only thing you need to worry about is chain links, where if you activate something like, or if your opponent activates something like Reincarnation, Trickstar Reincarnation, where you banish your hand and draw a new hand, basically. If you chain something like Reckless Greed to draw 2 cards, to say you draw your last 2 pieces, the chain has to resolve before you can declare the effect of Exodia, which is really interesting. I never noticed that's how that worked, but apparently it is, which is really neat. But Exodia, guys. So obviously you play the head of Exodia. Mine is a Japanese one. It's just the one I ended up getting. I thought I ordered an English one, but it ended up being Japanese. And disclaimer, this is more of a slow Exodia build. It's not the Blue Eyes build. This is my own personal build that I think works rather well, and I think it's rather fun. It does not play Mystic Mine, so the opponent can still play. It's more of a stall and draw strategy. But of course, start off with 1 piece of Exodia each, because they're all limited for lore reasons, even though that's kind of stupid because they actually weren't limited in the anime. That's right, Exodia was not actually limited. If you remember the Rare Hunter episode, where Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon was stolen, and Yugi dueled to get it back, that Rare Hunter had 3 copies of each card in his deck. So no, it was not lore reasons, actually. They just did it for whatever reason. Anyways, next up, we got 3 card D. This card has a nice little bit of draw power to it with 1 little drawback, which we'll get to in a second. But this card cannot be special summoned, and during your main phase 1, if this card was normal summoned this turn, you can tribute this card to draw 2 cards. The downside to this effect is then it will immediately become your end phase. Yeah, it will immediately become the end phase. So it's just a nice little bit of draw power, and if its effect gets negated, you can still continue your main phase, so it's very important that when you normal summon this, that you set your spell and traps that you want to set first, or activate any of them that you would want to do that with. Next up, we play 3 Battle Fader, just to give you a little bit of protection, because you typically won't control any monsters, just because the only monster you really control will be card D. That's like the only monster you'll ever really summon, apart from 1 other monster in the deck, which we'll get to later. But Battle Fader has the effect that when your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, then end the battle phase. And when this card is summoned this way, when it leaves the field, you banish it. So it's just a nice little bit of protection. And then again, we have more protection, because again, we're not trying to win by battle, we're trying to kill the opponent with Exodia. Is Swift Scarecrow. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can discard this card to the graveyard to end the battle phase. Not really much to it, other than just stopping the opponent from hurting you. Again, we got more monsters. Next up, we got Zero Gardna, which is a quick effect. where you can tribute this card, and if you do, you take no battle damage for the turn. So, yeah. This is a neat little tech that I like to play. Fortune Fairy Chi. I believe this is the Fortune Fairy of Bad Luck, and the one that's supposed to be based off of Carly Carmine. Just going from like the clothes and the hair, it looks, and the big glasses, it looks most like Carly Carmine. But anyways, when you draw this card, you can reveal it and special summon it from your hand. If this card is special summoned from the hand, each player can draw one card, or you can make each player draw one card. The effect is once per turn, unfortunately, but again, this is more of a stall and draw, so you're not going to try and cycle through your whole deck. So playing 2 of these is just fine. The only possible downside to it is giving your opponent more cards. But again, this deck is used more for just kind of fun and games, not really for competitive, which is why I don't worry about the Japanese, the Japanese Exodia. Next up is 3 Tune Table of Content. A very good card. Activate and add a tune card from your deck to hand, which is basically itself. So this is basically kind of how you play 3 Upstart Goblin in this deck, because you just keep activating cycle out your deck. What you could do is you can actually take out a Fortune Fairy Chi, and you can put in a Toon Cyber Dragon, so that way you can do this, search Toon Cyber Dragon off the last one, special it, and then make like a Chimera Mega Fleet, or the Rampart Dragon, whatever the other one's called. That's the Contact Fusion. That just takes machines on the field. Next up is 2 Ledger of Ledgerman. Main. You can banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down during your 3rd standby phase. After this card is activated, you add all 3 to your hand. You can only activate one Ledgerman once per turn. This card's actually really nice. It's slow, a little bit slow, but it gets a lot of cards to your hand really fast. Well, once you hit that 3rd standby phase. Next up, play 2 Boogie Trap. One thing quick I want to mention about Fortune Fairy Chi. If you want to get rid of it completely, you can just play Toon Cyber Dragon for the Toon Table, and you can take out the other one and play Danger Mothman. I know that's kind of bad to play Dangers in an Exodia deck, but looking at this deck has a lot of discard effects, like Boogeyman, Hand Destruction, and some other cards that you might end up discarding off of. So you can discard it off of one of those card effects, and then use the effect to draw and discard a card. So a Dark World Dealing. Or if you really wanted to, you could just play Dark World Dealing instead of Fortune Fairy Chi. But next up, we got 2 Boogie Trap, which is you discard 2 cards, target a trap in your graveyard, and set it. It can be activated this turn. You can only activate 1 Boogeyman or Boogie Trap per turn. This is really good to go along with Reckless Greed. Because if you set 3 Reckless Greed, you activate all 3, draw 6 cards, you only skip 2 draw phases. Activate this, discard 2 cards, reset it, do it again. Still only missing 2 draw phases. Next up is 1 Upstart Goblin, because it's at 1. 1 Day of Peace, because it's at 1, and then it makes so you don't take any damage. 1 Hand Destruction. You could also play a second one if you'd like to. 1 The Dark Door. Another card that'd be nice to play along with this, I would say, would have to be what's it called? The Messenger of Peace. You just gotta pay 100 life points in each of your standby phases, which I think is one of the lowest life point maintenances there is. To keep it on, you pay 100 life points in each of your standby phases, or each standby phase, to keep it on the field. And as long as it's face up on the field, neither player can declare an attack with a monster with more than 1,500 attack points. But this card says each player can only attack with 1 monster during their respective battle phase. So it just really helps to limit your opponent. Which is something like if you want to play Swift Scarecrow in this you get that in Dark Door in the field. If they don't have removal, they just can't win then, because you just stop their attacks infinitely. Next up is 3 Reckless Greed. It's a slow pot of greed, basically. You get to draw 2 cards, and then after that you skip your next 2 draw phases, which is basically if you have 3 of these set, you can just 1, 2, 3, draw 6 cards, skip 2 draw phases. Really, really good. And then we play 3 Threatening Roar. I think this is better than the Thunder, whatever the Thunder card is that you have to activate during the standby phase, because you can activate this at any point, so you can bait your opponent to using some kind of back row removal and just chain this, so that way they waste it. But you activate this and your opponent cannot attack during this turn. It's important too, if you want to wait till the battle phase, that you activate this at the start and not after they've declared an attack, because if your opponent has already declared an attack, then this will not stop that declared attack. because it stops them from declaring attack. So if the attack has already been declared, it can't stop it. Next up is 2 Jar of Greed. You could easily play a third, but I think 2 works just fine. 1 Wabaku and 1 negate attack. I would say you could probably switch out the negate attack for a Wabaku. The only reason I think negate attack, or vice versa, the only reason I think negate attack might be better is because of the fact of it being a counter trap. So there's not a lot your opponent can respond to it, and I doubt your opponent's going to want to waste a Solemn Judgment on a negate attack, which is really interesting that it's a counter trap. Really, really weird. But maybe play 2 negate attack instead of a Wabaku or whatever. And for the extra deck, you just play, like I said, the Cyber Dragon fusion monsters, and you can play Link Rebo, because if you summon your Battle Fader off of it, you can link into it, and then you can do that. And then if you summon Battle Fader, you can bring Link Rebo back from the graveyard like that. Which is really, really neat. And that's it, guys. That is it for the Exodia deck profile. Like I said, this is not really meant to be a competitive build. If you guys want to go for a more competitive build, I would recommend looking up something like Blue Eyes Exodia. That is the most competitive build that I know of. There's also the Exodia that becomes really big, depending on the number of Exodias in the graveyard. And there are just a lot of different Exodia builds that you can play. But if you guys like this one, you can go with this. If not, you can find plenty of other ones that I'm sure you enjoy very, very much. I've always had fun winning with Exodia because, you know, people never really like playing against stall and draw. But if you like to be what's it called? The masochist likes pain on himself. What is it? Sadist? I think it's sadist. That's what it's called. Basically, if you like to torture people, this is a fun deck for you. You could also add in Mystic Minds if you want to make your opponent's pain even worse. Throw in a Metaverse. But this is the build I play. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider leaving a like, comment, subscribing, and all that. Do whatever you feel like, and I'll see y'all the next one. And one more time, I just want to say thank you so much for the support in the last video. It meant so much to me. Seeing that over 200 views so soon, it warmed my heart so much. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.